Hi, this is part 2 of Reptile Basics when we're shipping. So we've just gotten an animal, and it's come, hopefully the right temperatures, the condition of the animal is what you expected, and everything is good. Now I'm basically soaking this animal in a shallow water. So the water goes no higher than a third up the side of the animal's body, and it's roughly warmish water, like tepid water. Nothing to shock this animal. Okay. So I'm going to let this animal, I could let this animal soak easily, comfortably for a few hours. I could put it into a place that's maybe dark and secure and leave the animal, make sure that it cannot escape. At that point, whoever shipped you the animal has basically met some of the basic requirements. They've shipped an animal to you, arrived alive. It looks good. This animal looks great to me. It is everything I could want it to be. So I am thrilled. So, offer a little bit of kindness to the person that shipped this animal to you, because they're really looking forward to often how you view the animal, and hopefully if you're excited, they like to hear it. I certainly do, and my employees do, and my manager wants to hear it because we really want our customers happy. Okay. What to do next? We got to make sure we put this animal in a correct setup. So I'm not going to go through all the temperatures, but hopefully you've done your research and you know what you're doing. Do not rely on the person that's selling you this animal to tell you everything about how to take care of this animal. You have to do due diligence. It is your responsibility. You've just taken on the responsibility of this animal. You're going to get all the enjoyments, but you also need to show a little bit of the response as far as responsibilities and setting it up properly. Blood pythons have certain constraints. If you keep them too hot, if you keep them too dry, if you keep them too cold, all these different things can instantly have a problem with this animal. So let's think about this. So I've taken this animal and I've set this animal up in what I feel as an adequate cage. How different is this cage from the cage or the housing system that the seller had this animal in, where the animal was set up, it was eating, and it was thriving? Did you suddenly take this animal, let's say I keep this animal in a rack system, and let's say I keep this animal on newspaper and sphagnum moss, and I use a water dish, and I crumple up newspaper, and I give it hiding places, and the animal doesn't really get bothered too much. This animal literally is a cryptic being, so it lives its life kind of being secretive, always having places to hide under and stuff like that, and it's largely nocturnal, so it's going to come out at night, and it's going to do its eating. Its favorite thing is quiet. The thing that scares it is a lot of noise, a lot of sound, a lot of abrupt changes in its life. So if I put this animal suddenly from a rack system that's really quiet, maybe has 60-70% ambient humidity, or even a little bit better as far as its hide box with sphagnum moss, and I take it and put it in a fish tank on newspaper, on some kind of desiccant bedding that's dry. I put a light bulb on it. I put a heating pad. I don't manage the temperatures right. I'm drying out the air. Suddenly the humidity is 40%. And I put it in there, and I put a little hide box in there, and that looks good. And then I try to feed it. Do I try to feed it that same day? I try to feed it a couple of days later, and then it doesn't eat. What is wrong here? First of all, never do that. You get the animal, you try to duplicate the kind of environment where it lives, and you want it to settle in. So you need something that's a parallel to where it was, created, shipped from, where it was basically where it was thriving. So you need to duplicate that. So that being said, now you've put it in a proper setup. Now we have to convince the animal that it's safe. This animal comes out of the bag so unsure of the world, it has no idea what's going on. This animal cannot assess that everything is safe. So the animal could be for days, could be weeks. It could be literally terrified or incredibly nervous. So if I set it up in a cage, new smells, new everything, it has to basically adapt to all that, and then it has to start getting confident. Okay, it's safe. There's nothing that's going to try to eat it. I have to basically convince that animal that everything's okay, and then it's safe enough to eat. It doesn't need to bite me because I'm not going to do anything. I smell differently. I behave differently. So we got to give the animal a chance to settle in. So if you go and try to feed that animal that day, a couple days later, even that week, and it doesn't eat, who is not living within the parameters of reality? The person that just received the animal, because they're not anticipating the animal has a brain. It's not a coffee mug. This animal needs to feel confident. It needs to feel happy. So remember this. You need to realize what these animals are. You cannot expect these animals to be something that you want them to be. You need to understand them for what they are. They have brains. They're naturally distrustful. We're large predators playing with these predators. Nothing natural about this. So basically, we're kind of skirting evolution and what nature designs these animals to be like. But ultimately, captive-born animals or long-term animals, they've learned to trust people. So when it's shipped to a new place, you want to basically get that animal to have a smooth transition. So doing things like trying to feed it quickly, too much handling, having dogs and cats running around the animal, exposing it, not giving it the places to hide, drying it out, all these different things are all highly stressful things on this animal's life. So, with this being said, this animal needs a chance to settle in, needs to feel secretive, and then we can worry about feeding it. I will tell you one thing, which doesn't seem to work and was ridiculous now, is if you don't even know really what you're doing, and you buy something and you get it, and then you set it up wrong, or you do some of these things wrong, and then the animal doesn't eat or doesn't do something like, just some basic parameter, and then you think, oh, I'm going to go and talk to the rest of the world and basically say, oh, my new snake isn't eating. Naturally, the snake is eating. It didn't get this big because it doesn't eat or it's being force fed or anything like that. It easily eats, in a place like this. But sometimes people are expecting way too much, and this is the world of instant gratification. In the world of reptiles, it's not always that way. You have to practice a little bit of art to this. You really have to have some skills, and you need to understand these are living animals. Okay, so this is end of part 2. Let's see if I do a part 3.